Hi, welcome to DittDott. My name is Amanda. So, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy and love sushi, but I've been very intimidated to try to make it at home. It just sounded really complicated, and I thought you needed like special equipment and all of that kind of stuff. Well, I started a couple of weeks ago trying to make it at home. And honestly, guys, it's really not that hard. So I'm gonna break it down and show you how to make sushi at home in a very approachable way. And that way you'll be able to have it whenever you want. Okay, so the first thing is to make sushi rice. And let me tell you, the first couple times I made it, I did not buy sushi rice. The first time I made sushi at home, I just used some leftover rice. The mistake with that is leftover rice tends to get hard. So my sushi tasted great, but the rice was a little, not super soft, and that made a big difference. The second time I used a barrio rice, and that was really great. But this time at the grocery store, I did find this sushi short grain rice. And so we're gonna go ahead and use rice that specifically is what you should use for sushi. But again, if you can't find the sushi rice, which I will link some down below from Amazon, but if you can't, the barrio rice works really great. All right, let's go ahead and make some sushi rice. Okay, so I'm gonna start by bringing 1 3/4 cup of water to a boil in my saucepan. And I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar. Now, this is not the traditional way to make sushi rice. Normally you make the rice and then you make a sugar, salt, vinegar solution and you spread it on a cookie sheet and you do all this fancy like cooling method. Okay, we're making easy sushi at home. So I'm also gonna add in some salt and we're gonna bring that to a boil. While that is coming up to a boil, but I've already done it, you go ahead and measure out 1 cup of rice and rinse it. I usually don't do this step, so we're gonna see if that makes a big difference. Like I said, I like to take shortcuts where I can, so normally I don't rinse the rice, but I figured we'll try it this time. So I'm gonna let this come up to a boil and we'll be right back. Okay, so it doesn't take for too long to come up to a boil. I put the lid on, it helps it come up to a boil faster. And I'm gonna go ahead and put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. Seems like a lot. Last time I only used 1 tablespoon, but I'm sort of following what the instructions on this particular rice bag suggested. And then I'm going to put my rice in my pot. I'm gonna give it a good stir. We're gonna cover it for 20 minutes and put it on low to simmer. The reason why I hate rinsing out my rice, it's like it always sticks to the bowl, but okay. So I'm gonna put it down on low. I'm actually probably going to move mine to my back burner, which is my simmer burner. This one's got a lot of power, and then we'll let it cook for 20 minutes. So for me, the 2 most intimidating parts about making sushi, well, okay, I guess 3. I don't know, maybe it's not intimidating to you, but it's always been a dish that's been intimidating to me. One was making my rice correctly. I'm just not very great at making rice on the stovetop. I do tend to make rice in the Instapot, and I have not tried to make sushi rice in the Instapot, so I will try that next, but I'm usually just trying to make a small amount. And then this second thing that's intimidating is finding a fish that I know is safe to eat raw. And the third is the rolling, which we'll get to later. So the first time that I made sushi at home, I just used imitation crab meat. That is perfectly good. That's what most California rolls are made with. Definitely, if you're trying sushi for the first time, using the imitation crab meat is really good. It's not a vegetarian or vegan product unless you're a pescatarian where you do fish. Imitation crab meat is actually made from fish. It's a certain type of fish, I forgot which one. But they like press it and form it, almost kind of like hot dogs in fish form to make imitation crab meat. But it's actually pretty tasty. I use it in salads and various applications quite often. The second time I made sushi at home, I actually used canned tuna and I mixed it with mayonnaise and a little bit of sriracha and I put that on my sushi roll and it was really delicious. Now this time I had the idea to buy this poke bowl kit. It's from Anna C. This is non-sponsored. I've used this product several times to make homemade poke bowls. It's really good. I don't know if it's available where you are or if there's something similar, but what I like about it is that it gives me the confidence that this is approved fish for eating raw at home. Otherwise, if you don't, you can always talk to your fishmonger at your grocery store and ask them what fish that they suggest that you can use at home for sushi. One thing that I like about this is it's pretty affordable. This box right here is $10 and it's always made 2 poke bowls for me. So a $5 poke bowl is really a good deal. So when you open it up, the tuna is in these little cubes and it's vacuum sealed. And then there is a sauce box for the poke. And I figured I was going to use this for my sushi dipping sauce just because that way I'm using everything in the kit, even though I'm not making a poke bowl today. So all you're going to want to do is, it comes frozen and it's in the freezer section at your grocery store. And you're going to want to either pull it out a couple of hours before you want to make your sushi, or put it in the refrigerator the night before to let it thaw. And so once it comes to room temperature, or not room temperature, it's still chilled, but it's no longer frozen. All right, now we're gonna gather up a few more ingredients while our rice is boiling and we'll get ready to make some sushi. Okay, so one thing I like in my sushi is cucumber. So if you've got a mandolin, you can use a mandolin. You can use a knife and cut very thin slices, or if you've got a wide enough peeler, you can peel super thin slices. This is a very big cucumber too. So you want them as thin as you can get, because that way they will roll up really nicely in your sushi. So slice off, a good amount, and then we're going to pray to the avocado gods that we have a beautiful, beautiful fresh avocado. So I didn't always like sushi. The first time I had raw fish at all was about, I think 12 years ago. I got invited to a mom's night out in Dallas, Texas. We were at Cheesecake Factory and it was kind of just like an after dinner and people were ordering appetizers and drinks. Look at this. The avocado gods smiled down upon me. This is beautiful. And I ordered, just on a whim, the tuna tartare, which is not sushi, but it's a raw tuna preparation. The proteins of the tuna are slightly cooked in a lemon juice, but for all intents and purposes, there's no heat added. It is, sort of a raw fish. And it was so delicious. I absolutely loved that dish. But, I was kind of a new mom and sushi can be really expensive. So I just didn't have it again for several years. Okay, I'll come back to my story. The next ingredient that you're gonna want to buy is Nori Sheets. And these used to be hard to come by, but nowadays you can find them in most grocery stores. And it's just a roasted seaweed and it comes in big green sheets like this. They're kind of fragile, but not too bad because we're gonna be rolling them up. There's a shiny side and a rough side. It smells really good. So you do want to pick up, again, I will link some of these because you can buy these on Amazon if they are not at your local grocery store. Okay, so like I said, no special equipment is needed. If you find that you really enjoy making sushi, getting a bamboo mat makes it easy, supposedly. I don't have one, so I don't know, but I've just been using parchment paper. So tear off a sheet of parchment paper and a bit of cling wrap. And then all we need to do is wait for our rice to finish and have time to cool down. I forgot to mention that while the rice was cooking, I put a big metal bowl in my ice box here, so that way it will help cool down the rice quicker when it's done cooking. So ironically, I think my back burner was a little bit too low because this took about actually 25 minutes before my rice absorbed all the water and its nice sticky consistency. So I'm gonna pour it in this cold bowl. You could also put it on a chilled cookie sheet. I just figured it'd be easier to stir in this bowl. The other option is to cook your rice up in the morning and give it time to cool down even faster, you know, just over time. And I'm just kind of stir it around on the edges of this cold bowl and let it cool down a bit so that we can handle it. And see, it's nice and sticky, which is what you want. I'm gonna give this just a few minutes to cool down so I can touch it by hand, and we will be back. Okay, so I'm gonna take one of the nori and put it on the parchment paper here. I'm gonna put the rough side up, and then I'm going to try, to lightly put the rice kind of all around the mat with my spoon, but then we're going to use that cling wrap to really get it in a thin layer. So I'm going to use my cling wrap and smush it down into a solid layer. Now, by no means am I a sushi expert. I would not even say the word master at all. I would say I'm a sushi absolute beginner, but that's why I want to show you that it is easy to make sushi at home if you are a beginner. So it isn't going to be like going to a fancy sushi restaurant by any means, but just being able to do it at home is kind of fun. It's, you know, you can make it up for a party, have some sushi appetizers out. Okay, so once you get it down, and you want it pretty thin, because otherwise, what I learned on my first roll is that if your rice is too thick, then your sushi roll is going to be really big and not be able to stick in your mouth in one go. So I'm gonna spread this out, and I'm going to spread out a layer of my cucumber. Now, if you're using the imitation crab meat, a lot of times that has cream cheese in it. This time I'm just using cucumber, avocado, the tuna, and even though it's not very traditional, I'm gonna put some mint in mine because I like mint in my sushi. So, like I was saying before, the first time I had the raw fish was at Cheesecake Factory in Texas. And then I moved up to Portland and I got invited to a sushi mom's night out. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay, I'll go. And I had some sushi and it was good. But again, I wasn't like, oh, you know, this is the best thing ever. I was like, this is pretty good. And then like, I just started craving it. And all of a sudden I wanted to go to sushi again and again. And then I became a sushi lover. It kind of sneaks up on you sometimes. So I'm about an inch away from the top of my mat where I laid all the stuff out. So here, let me show you. So I didn't put it right up to the edge. I left about an inch and I layered the cucumber, the avocado, and the tuna in a single line. And then, like I said, I'm gonna add some mint and a line of sriracha because I want them spicy. So apparently there is a sriracha shortage. I normally buy the Rooster brand. I don't even know what the name of it is. Everybody just calls it the Rooster brand. But there hasn't been sriracha in my store in weeks. And finally, I have to clean the bottom of this jar. I set it in my rice. Finally, this one showed up, Sky Valley sriracha. So hopefully it's good. Oh, it's got a pretty big hole. I want it to come out really thin. Okay, now here's the part where normally you'd put this like on a bamboo sushi mat, but if you use the parchment paper, you don't need to. So fold it over the edge of the ingredients that you put down, but not all the way. You're not like folding it in half, folding it kind of in thirds. And you're going to pull back. So I put my hand up here on the parchment paper, and then I'm using my hand kind of curved like a C shape and pull back as tight as you can. And then lift up the parchment paper and roll again and keep pulling tightly. Now some stuff's gonna kind of go out the ends because we're not experts, but you're just gonna keep doing that, and you wanna pull, again, you're taking whatever your non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, on the parchment paper, and you're putting it down on the counter and tugging it tight. And then this hand, which is like in a little C or scoop shape, pulls up against the roll as tightly and compactly as you can get it. Voila, sushi roll. And again, like I said, because we're not experts, some stuff might scoot out the ends. Now, the next thing you're gonna want is a very sharp knife. So I'm gonna move my sushi roll to a cutting board, and I'm gonna cut off the end here. Oh, I think I need a different knife. This one is not sharp enough. Well, let me move this over. It's been a while since I've gotten my knife sharpened, and I think it's about time for me to do it again. Okay, again, let's try to do this. And you want them to be, you know, about 3/4 of an inch. Go all the way down. Okay, that one's not pretty because the first one was, my knife was not sharp. But this knife is a lot sharper. So then you get a beautiful little sushi roll. And I've got enough rice to make up 2 rolls. And I've got enough tuna to have 2 sushi rolls and a poke bowl for tomorrow. Now, I don't leave it in the refrigerator for more than 2 days once I've thawed it out, but I feel like it's still fine in the refrigerator for 2 days. So if you're really brave, you can cut off this messy end, but you know what? Well, let's see. I'm just going to cut off some of it. Don't worry, I'll be eating that part with a spoon. Let's plate up our one roll and taste it with our sauce. Then I'll make another roll off camera. So you can mix up your own like soy sesame, like a soy sesame dipping sauce. But like I said, I kind of wanted to use this sauce that came with the kit. But I could also save this for making the poke bowl tomorrow. So I don't know. Another fun garnish is putting some sesame seeds around, just for fun. All right, let's go ahead and give our messy one here a taste. I love sushi so much. So good. And this sauce is a little spicy. Oh, and I put that sriracha sauce in there. Perfect texture, the avocado, the cucumber, the mint comes through. So I hope you feel confident now to try to make sushi at home yourself. If you do, make sure that you comment down below. I'd love to hear how your sushi making goes and what your favorite kind of sushi is. You know, this is just a basic beginner roll. And thank you so much for watching the video with me. Make sure that you hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.